All right, guys. So welcome to our live analysis session. Today is Tuesday, the 24th of August. Let's have a look at what's going on. All right. Let's see what the markets are doing. So again, recapping on where we are. So where is pound USD at the moment? So pound USD is making its way long. Okay, I'm going to use another piece of price action here. So we stayed within the H4 order block here of demand, and the price is taking its journey along. How far it will go will be dependent on a few things. Now, I would say to you guys, one of the biggest dependency factors on where the price is going to go next is going to be at this supply zone here. The break above this supply zone here would be a very good indication of continuance of bullish intention. If not, then most likely we're going to see the price reversing. But for now, if we get this structure, then I do expect the price to continue to the next supply zone. So on our way back up from this movement here, a recovery in the pound that we're seeing at the moment, this is going to be one of the factors that we'll be looking for to ascertain as to what the price will do. Now, the potential here is that if the price does what it needs to do, then we have another trajectory of about 100 pips, which is going to be a fantastic addition to your account if you're already in this trade. Now, the weekly structure is still held. We're still within this area right here. Within this weekly structure right here, the price is still holding true. We are seeing the reaction of bullish liquidity. Now, how far this is going to go will be interesting to see. But I do expect to see some activity around this area right here after a while. Let's see what happens at this region right here, what the price begins to do. 1.37853. This is where my eyes are looking at the moment to see how the price reacts if it gets there. Now, if the price gets here, then I expect this wick to be filled out and for the price to reach back up to this supply zone here. All right, so definitely there is a good set of pips here. And I do think that the price is ready to continue making its way even back up to 1.39. I believe between now, if the price confirms this movement here, we could get back to 1.40 quite soon. And then from there, the sky is the limit. So there's really good high hopes. Now, if you missed out on the first trade, I'll be looking out for re-entries later on. Students, you keep your eyes on it, and I'll be posting to see where the price is moving to. All right. So let's recap now. Swiss franc, Japanese yen is still taking off. We've had the beautiful price action here. All right. The order flow has moved towards the bullish side quite cleanly. The flow of bullish pressure now is starting to make its way, and we're seeing the price take off to where it needs to. All right. I'm watching for a re-entry probably on the H4, which is going to be here. On this H4 section of price, I'm looking to see what the price is doing. And as the price gets into this area here, we're going to see what happens. All right. Here could be a very good area for us to get a re-entry. A real simple break and then a return back here is one possible option. I'll take this line. That break above supplies there would be a really good continuation for where we need to get to for our trade target. There's still 200 pips and above to go. So even if you missed out on the first 100 from this trade, now students, you have this, and those on Patreon, you also have this trade too. But for those of you who are on the live, I guess if you see the schematic, then you can do your best to try and get in there. All right. But it was still a very good trade. So far, it's done over 100 pips from, well, actually at about 100 pips from our entry, which is about here, or close to 100 at 93.5. So it's been a great trade so far. The price is still moving to where it is, and I expect the price to keep on going. All right, now let's see what the market is offering. Now I'm going to go to the H4 and CAD CHF. So CAD CHF is now making a break for the second time short. It's starting to make its way downwards, and we're seeing this downward movement here. Now, remember, I was in CAD CHF from right here where this blue line is. We had a very strong sell. Signal was out already, did fantastic pips. I closed on Friday. The price pushed a bit further down, has returned back to this region here, and now is returning down for the continuance of this short, which I believe is going to continue. I believe the Swiss franc is presenting very good opportunities for reversal, but this was an absolutely brilliant trade, this was, and I expect the price to continue giving us really good, strong movement from there. So with USDCHF at the moment, the real test I want to see is how the price does when it gets here, what it does. Okay, here is where we had a midterm, or I'll say it's an intraday, but an intraday reversal signature here. Once the price gets back to this area here, the question we need to work out for ourselves is the price going to use this area of demand to continue pushing higher? And maybe we might see the price return to a higher points in the price before shorting again? Or are we going to see the price breaking beneath? So immediately here, this will be one of the areas that you should be watching out for to see what the price does in this region. Because right here would be a very good determinant as to what the price is trying to achieve here. So I would say keep your eyes peeled for what's happening between this range here of price. It's a very small range of price, but it still means a lot to what we're trying to do when we're looking for a trade. Now, if we get the break beneath here, then our targets remain the same. Now, there are gaps on the downside, there's liquidity gaps, but our target is right here. Okay, 0.896. So it's supposed to be 689 or 89642, but 650 is fine as well. But essentially, we want to target this low right here. This is our target. And from where the price is right now, that is, I guess from the break, especially if we consider the break beneath, we're looking at 143.8 pips right here. So that 143.8 pips would be a fantastic addition to your account, but it depends really on what the price is trying to achieve here. You know, we've had this slowing down and this kind of signature reversal happening recently. And so the price needs to give us a clear signal. Now, we do have news this week. We have the Jackson Hole synopsis, which is happening on the 26th, or from the 26th through to the 28th. Now, if you're not too sure what Jackson Hole is a meeting that happens, okay, sometimes more than once throughout the year, okay, hosted by the Federal Reserve. And it's the discussion of monetary policy and the future of where the Federal Reserve is going. Now, because the Federal Reserve is in essence the world central bank, or the world's central bank, because the US dollar is the world reserve currency of the world, Jackson Hole has a lot to do with how central banks perceive the future, okay, and how they're going to take action to be able to, you know, implement different levels of financial policy. So Jackson Hole is a very important summit. Now, right now, there's talks of US dollar tapering, which means a strengthening of the US dollar, because if you're not too sure what tapering is, it simply means the US dollar is going to be burning notes, and then burning the notes would decrease the supply, which means that the US dollar will have a greater demand, and that should push the price, you know, or the strength of the US dollar up. So how does that affect currency? Well, USDCHF will immediately receive a very strong push long, okay, but at the moment, the Federal Reserve is reluctant to talk about it. They haven't actually mentioned it much. And at Jackson Hole, it seems as though they don't want to talk about it yet. Okay, so we're going to see what happens in the future. So I'm keeping my eyes on the Jackson Hole summit. There is other news that's going to happen on the US dollar, and we'll be looking at those to see what the price does. All right, now moving forward from here. Now, what does this mean? Now, a lot of US denominated pairs, so a lot of pairs that have the US dollar with them, all right, are going to be, you know, in effect, affected by this news. So we need to definitely make sure that we keep our eyes peeled on what's going on with that. All right. I'm going to look at Euro USD here. So Euro USD now as well has done what we need it to do. So if you remember from our discussion before here, we had a signature reversal form at the bottom here. And I told you guys that even though the price was pushing very strongly short, we're within a very strong area of demand. Okay, this area here, I'm going to mark it out in gray for you, is monthly demand. Okay, now the higher the time frame, the stronger the strength of the supply or demand zone. Now, the price has just come for these lows that have existed for a while, okay, since near the beginning of the year. This is the low of March here that the price has gone for. All right, so this will cause a reversal most likely in the price, and this is what we're seeing. Now, it doesn't have to be a long-term one, but it is long enough for the price to be able to make a few pips up onto the upside, and this is what we're seeing here. So if I go to the D1, on the daily time frame here, all right, it doesn't look like much, but we have entered into a very strong area again of demand. All right, and from where we are now, the price is starting to make its way back to what the targets we were looking for earlier on. Now, if the price can fulfill what we were talking about here, so if we're discussing this in terms of A to B swings, I'll put this here. So right here is A. All right. Now, initially, this was supposed to be B, where the price has swung to down here was meant to be B, but we haven't had the full trend completion down to D. So this swing point right here is representing our B swing. All right. So we have an A to B bearish swing established, and this is our swing. But again, looking at where we are in terms of Fibonacci levels, we're not even anywhere near the 50% level at least. Okay. So we're still in a and a place where we should be looking for more buys than sells. So I'm going to mark off this area of supply here. And I do expect to see Euro USD pull back and give us a long. Okay, at least from here, we'll form a C swing. And then from here, we should be looking for the D afterwards. So this movement that we're seeing right here, the expectation is for us to see, very good movement, towards this bearish side. So I'm gonna go to the H4. All right, here is the A swing and here's the B. Now this swing structure here, the price has already filled out the wick. I told you that the market will fill out this wick. This was from the FOMC news. All right, and now we've pushed, the price is pushing long. I expect it to break past where it needs to get to and at least give us an entry back up here. I expect the price to get around about where this high is over here. And then from here, we should be looking for a short. So ideally, when it comes to price action here we go. Ideally, when it comes to price action here, we have another 120 pips to go on the long side. Now, finding an entry for this is something that we'll be looking into. At the moment, the price is quite technically sound. There isn't too much here that is of any complexity at all. But the price could produce entries from many different arenas, which for now, we can go back to. But for now, there are plenty of areas the price could go to. All right, we've already had similar movements already here. This is a very strong area of move. Okay, we had the demand zone form on top, which the price has now used to go forward to continue this movement. We've had quite a few movements here, kind of like steps to a ladder. We've seen the price form several demand zones over time. Okay, and now we've seen a very strong push from this previous demand zone here, and we've seen a movement of about 20 pips. Okay, now to the left here, there's nothing to the left until 1.17711. So we're about 30 pips from anything that could cause the price to start to sell off. So I don't see anywhere that there should be any difficulty for the price to start to not go long. All right. So I'm keeping my eye on Euro USD. It's not my main trade for the week at all. I'm not really going to be trading Euro USD. But again, for those of you who are, it is a good heads up. All right. Now, AUD/USD, a lot of the US dollar pairs have followed a very similar reversal pattern. We're starting to see some weakness showing up on the US dollar. Now, how far this is going to go now, again, we've broken past probably one of the most important demand zones on the spectrum for AUD/USD, which is here. The price has broken past this area and now demand has become supply. So really, looking at what we have going forward, all right, I'm expecting to see the price getting towards an area of supply right here. All right, so here's the H4 area. And from here, I'm expecting to see the price make a movement further up. So I'm going to go on to the hourly here. And this is where we are at the moment. We have this wick here that the price has created. And we could either see the price accelerate from here or just push down on the short side. Okay. So I'm going to be watching this hourly area. If the price, or I'll say H4 area, if the price does break above here and then return, then we should be looking for some more buys. And we should be expecting the price to be going for some highs, ideally back up to around this area at least, and possibly even further up back to these highs here, because there are quite a few highs that the price could go for. All right, so I'll be keeping my eyes peeled. When I look at the price action and I'm observing, for example, an area like this, I do expect the price to get around those regions soon. But we'll see. The H4 break above here will be the confirmation of our entry. And really, if you want to get an entry on here, entry is going to be here, stop loss beneath, and then 5 pips for about 175. We're looking at about 1 to, if we do the math, so think about 1 to 35 risk rules. If you risk 1%, you're going to make 35% of your account. If you risk 2%, then you've made 70%. So it's a great trade to take, very simple trade to take. So I'll be wanting to hear what you guys think about that and what you guys do with that trade. All right. So let's look at USDCAD. So USDCAD now has done exactly what we needed to do. All right. I did tell you guys that there was going to be an approach where the price would get to an algorithmic level that we've been looking at for a while. The price has done exactly what it needs to do. And we've seen a very strong pushback from the long. Now, the long that we had here was a very strong long, but there was some issues with the way that the price produced this long. This was institutional sponsorship. This is not a natural long. This long pushed in here was done by artificial price strengthening. It's not the same as a natural long. And as you can see, once the price hit the algorithmic area that we're looking at, the price came straight back down to basically fill out that move. So we had what went up, came back down. And this is a very special move that we've been waiting for about 2 months. So now the aftermath of what we're going to do here, students, I'll break this down and put in our written chat for us to have a look at so that we can make money on. All right. Now, what I was really watching for, and I would say if you want to keep your eyes on something, guys, this is what you want to keep your eyes on, is going to be this area here. This H1 area, the only reason why we missed this long, okay, in the academy is because the price did not return to demand. Now, this lack of return to demand, this liquidity here within this order block is what should have pushed the price long. But the market decided to inject liquidity outside of normal order blocks. All right. And we've seen a massive long here. Now, once the price gets into this region here, my suggestion is we're going to get a very strong long, at least a strong, very strong reaction, at least that could push the price back up. If the price breaks past there, then it's going to be very interesting as to what the price does. Okay. But from where we are right now, okay, I'm really intrigued to see where the price is going to get to. My first rule area the price will return back to would be around about here, I believe. Okay, but I would say keep your eyes on this. This efficiency in this order block hasn't been fulfilled. This market inefficiency being fulfilled here. If this was a good trade, the stop loss will be 10 pips, and already the first target is 228, which means that you're going to be looking at a roughly around about 1 to 22.8. And as a risk to reward, if you risk 1%, you would have made 22.8%. If you want to get funded, this one trade will take care of everything. So I would say keep your eyes peeled on this trade. Let's see what happens. If the price breaks beneath, then we have a secondary option of what we can do. But USDCAD has played up exactly as we need it to. And this means that there's a very strong short on USDCAD about to happen that most people are not aware of. The short that we're about to see is going to be a short that's going to shock everybody. All right. But the entry for that short has to be very specific and handled with care, which is what we're going to be doing over these next couple of days. All right. So I'm going to look at gold. Let's have a look at gold. All right. So those on the YouTube live, I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll catch you guys later on.